You can now log on and email your photos and comments to us at znsnews3@znsbahamas.com.
Welcome back. After spending some 17 years as priest in charge of St. Vincent de Paul Parish in Hunters, Father Reginald Demert is now adapting to life on the island of Exuma. Father Reggie, as he is affectionately called, says it is quite a change from his busy schedule here on Grand Bahama.
I'm still feeling the layout of the place and getting accustomed to my new parishioners. So hopefully, I'm certain that there's a lot of work because I have a whole community to build, the Catholic community, because we didn't have a priest there for at least 20 years. The pace is very slow, which is good for me, so, and I will just take my time and do what I have to do in terms of building the community there, So people ask me, Father, are you going to still do Junkanoo there? I say, I don't know, because if the Lord lead me to that, and of course, if that's how we bring our young people together, then therefore that is what will happen.
Now, over the past 20 years, the only Catholic church in Exuma, St. Teresa's, has been without a resident priest. Father Reggie relocated to Exuma 3 weeks ago and says he's already seeing positive results.
Obviously, they went other places, so hopefully I touch base with a lot of key people. So it's now growing right now. Even 3 weeks, I saw an improvement. Continue to keep the faith alive, and those the principle that we instilled in them, that they will continue to do that. And of course, continue to pray for me as I continue my new responsibility, and of course I will continue to pray for you also. And I love Grand Bahama. It did well for me here.
A local parliamentarian continuing efforts to empower his constituents through knowledge and training. The Pine Ridge Computer and Resource Center was established some 3 years ago, and to date more than 200 residents have taken advantage of the free training. The latest group to complete the 12-week course received their certificates this past Saturday during a graduation ceremony at Calvary Temple Church Hall. Member of Parliament for Pine Ridge, Kwesi Thompson, says he's happy to be able to make such a positive impact in the lives of his constituents.
Empowerment is about equipping people, is about enabling them, is about giving them skills to do better. So one of the things that we wanted to do was to provide a service which we could empower the constituent. And the obvious way to do that today is to provide computer skills. We use computers in every aspect of our lives. So for especially the adult and the senior constituents who may not have had the advantage of being able to do it in school.
Retired public servant Ivan DeVoe has benefited greatly from the program. He believes the free computer training is priceless as it affords students the opportunity to advance in technology.
I always knew what a computer was, but to turn it on, no. And we get into the text wrapping and font and all sort of abbreviations, and that make it so good.
The Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture closing out Youth Month activities on the island of Abaco on Friday night with a Youth Award ceremony. Our Megan Shepard has the story.
In celebrating Youth Month, the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture hosted a pep rally to honor outstanding students on the island of Abaco. Honorees excelled in academics, sports, and community service efforts. The night was filled with performances from youth all across the island. Young persons between the ages of 5 and 18 were honored based on recommendations by their principals. Director of Youth, Darren Turnquest, gave the keynote address where he encouraged the youth to stand tall and be proud of themselves.
before we can celebrate you, you have to believe in the you. In other words, before we can tell you that you are great, you must first be able to recognize your own what? Greatness. And then in order to celebrate you, despite your circumstances, despite the fact that situations at home and situations at school and situations wherever it is you work or you play might not be at the best, and people might not see you as what you believe yourself to be, it is not what you are called, but rather what you what? What you answer to.
Representative for Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture, Wilma Coburg, says the event was a success and this is just the beginning for the island of Abaco. District Superintendent Helen Simmons Johnson also noted the importance of such events.
This is the first for the entire Abacos and Keys. I look forward to working with the community, and so we can build sporting programs and put programs in place so when they're through with school or when they get their scholarships, they can come back and get to Abaco.
The youth need to know that all the adults in the community support them in whatever they do. Sometimes adults fail to recognize that youth, because of who they are, bring to us talents, skills, energies, the ability to think and do, and we ought to provide opportunities and forums for them to do that, and then like tonight to recognize what they have done.
Megan Shepard, ZNS News.
In other news, members of the Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority on Grand Bahama and New Providence meeting here on the island this past weekend for the annual leadership conference. International Regional Director Evelyn Oak says their main objective is to train and develop their service initiatives and programs. She says the organization, which was established over 100 years ago, is making a significant impact around the world.
We've been in the international region for about 55 years, and we have made a huge difference in way of scholarship and advocacy and just making an impact on the lives of women and just humankind in general. And I think that we are the first black Greek letter sorority founded in the United States 103 years ago, and now we've branched out across the globe to really help all women, no matter if they're United States or international women, but really to be helpful.
Well, President of the Grand Bahama chapter, Anya Valdez, and Joyanne Archer of New Providence talk about how they're fulfilling their mandate.
We're focusing mostly on continuing with our membership. We also are focusing on the connections part, which is being more political, being more advocates for human rights, especially when it comes to women and children and those who may have a voice but can't get their voice heard.
One of the programs that we've done that we felt have been very successful is the EYL, Emerging Young Leaders Program, where we went initially to the public schools and identified girls in grade 6, and we had those girls who have in their minds, they feel that they are potential leaders of the future, and we selected them, and we are now working with those young ladies, grooming them, assisting them academically, and helping them with their social skills and graces, but also building self-esteem.
Tonight is Halloween, a time when young people take to the streets for trick or treat, but police have a bit of advice to ensure that everyone remains safe. Press Liaison Officer Assistant Superintendent Clarence Rackley.
First of all, not to let the youngsters go out alone. They should be accompanied by an adult. We want to say you should let them go in areas that they're familiar with. Let them go in areas that is well lit. Not to go inside persons' homes, because kids are out looking for treats, but there are also some adults who are out with a bag of tricks. So we want to ensure that the kids who go out trick-or-treating are safe. As far as the police is concerned, we will try our best to be out in numbers, patrolling the streets, and ensuring that those who go out trick-or-treating do have a safe environment to go trick-or-treating in.
Now, ASP Rackley is also sending this warning to persons who may seek to cause mischief.
You have those youngsters who are up to mischief. Throwing limes or hard-boiled eggs at passing vehicles has always been a challenge for us. So again, we say that those persons who going to get involved in those type of activities to cease, and not to get involved in those type of activities, because you could cause harm to yourself as well as other persons. And once it's brought to the police attention that this is happening, obviously the police will respond and take the necessary and appropriate action.
Tonight's Facebook story of the night was brought to you by Sky Bahamas.
So the Facebook question of the night is, what would motivate you to join a neighborhood crime watch group in your area? Lorena Del Mundo Cherez says, if there is a high rate of crime or a trend of crime in my community, it would be a cause of concern to me. Another factor that would motivate me is if I know there are willing participants, especially men, who would also be committed to such an initiative. Claudine Rolle says, I would want to look after the safety of my family and the community on the whole, for the Bible declares that we are to be our brothers and sisters' keepers. So there you have it.
Yep. That's what you need. Neighborhood watches are great. I mean, it's something that our parents and our grandparents did years ago, but we're a little selfish in Grand Bahama. We've arrived, so we don't check anymore. We need to go back to the old ways and make it happen again, okay?
Okay.
We can be all right. So watch out for the neighbors next door. If you see some strange folks, let them go. All right?
All right.
There you go.
And that's going to wrap things up for us here at Newsnight 13 on behalf of the entire ZNS News team.
I'm Rick. Watch out for everybody.
I'm Shasheena. Good evening.
News in the making, call ZNS News at 351-3430.